So it's 6:05. I'd like to get started because I think this is a great program we're doing, a project we're doing. I want to thank everybody for meeting tonight. She's joining us right now to talk about the paid school. Most of you are aware who's on this call that it was approved at a special town meeting for $462,000 to design and build a new playground. We did a selection of playground designers, builders, suppliers, and O'Brien and Son was chosen to design the playground for us. Again, we didn't design the playground and go get the money. We got the money first, and now we're designing the playground. So we had to design the playground based on the money that we received and the funds that we received from the community preservation committee, which was generous enough to give us the whole amount of money for this. Would have been great to design this first and found out it was $499,000 instead of asking for 462. Yes, absolutely, but we didn't go that direction. So the design was a challenge. We had to cut a few things out, and Colin and O'Brien and Sons worked with playing with cutting a corner here and cutting a corner there, so we could get as much equipment as we can on the playground, with the idea that the playground is used at a school as recess, and it sees, Emily, it could see 100 kids at once right out the door. And that's not what most playgrounds see, is this burst of kids at one time. So we wanted to get as much equipment as possible there. And that's why you see the design. So we picked we picked O'Brien and Son to be our designer, supplier, installer. Colin is online right now. I'm going to try to turn over the controls to Colin so he could do a presentation. And it's 4 or 5 sketches, so it isn't that much, showing you the design that we picked. So let me just figure out how to do this again on Zoom. Let's see. Feel free to add advice, and anybody knows how to, where am I looking for this? Pen, make host. Colin, hopefully I have making you host and you can share your screen. Yep, so far so good.
Everybody, Colin Boutin from Emmy O'Brien. I appreciate everyone hopping on tonight so we can take a look at the final design and how this kind of came to be. I promise not to hold everybody up too long. So this is going to be the final site plan for the park. It's over 7,000 square feet. So this is going to be a considerable size layout. We have taken special consideration into dividing it into the 2 to 5 side and the 5 to 12 side. That way it makes it a lot easier on teachers and parents to kind of discern where their kids should be at a given time based on safety ratings and fall heights and all of those things that are considered when playground is divided up. We have a lot of incredibly inclusive features. That was a mainstay for this playground from the get-go. So it is a completely ramped playground. So anybody in a wheeled device or physically challenged is able to actually enjoy pretty much every aspect of this playground, whether it be a ground event or a raised event. We have elevated events on the 5 to 12 side, which is this side, is actually going to be a beige tan rubber surfacing. So there will be no wood chips anymore. So access and accessibility to this entire playground is for everybody. This side will have a rubber surfacing that will be a blue color, a sky blue color, and that will be the more 2 to 5 area. But I'll zoom in a little bit here. So we've got benches and seated areas throughout the playground as well. There's going to be a structure here in the center with 2 picnic tables, an ADA picnic table and a standard picnic table. That way parents or teachers can actually enjoy sitting under this structure, not roasting in the sun, getting a little reprieve up on that hill, and watch in both directions. So a little bit of overlap with some of the items. Our musical instruments are over here. So we have some musical instruments to kind of give kids another ground event besides a swing or something that, that you would typically find on a playground. These instruments create actual notes. There are 2 different drums and a metallophone, and the kids can actually create actual songs, actual music utilizing these instruments. They're not just for, banging around and making noise. So that being said, it's kind of hard to figure out what I'm talking about just looking at a site plan. So I'm going to give you a couple renders here. Maybe. Yep, there we go. So the structure in the center is not in this picture, but will be down below. So this is going to be that 2 to 5 area. There's a lot of climbers, a lot of special events for sensory play. We have our cozy dome, which is extremely popular. You can go inside, you can go on top. That was in the original presentation we had done. And then the inclusive features that Landscape Structures is very known for is going to be something along this line with our WeGo, our WeSaw, our WeGo Swing, and our Omni Spinner. These are incredible events and features for people of all abilities. It's also great for people of all ages. These are multi-generational. So a parent or teacher or guardian could be on this WeSaw with their child, their student, whoever it might be. And I'll show you what that looks like. So to give you an idea, this is what that would look like with a guardian or a parent or a teacher and a couple of kids. It's very easy to transition into. And on top of that, you can have somebody in the center right here. So this would be, having 5 kids can enjoy this. You could have another student or another kid on this side as well. So a couple of the other items that I had spoken about. So this is the WeGo Swing. This is incredibly inclusive. It's a lot of fun for everybody. Again, multi-generational. This is going to be something that drives people to this park. The ability that this gives anybody of any ability to be a part of something without having to feel ostracized or that only certain things are for them and they're limited on this playground is really not going to be a consideration, with the fact that with all the work that Wayne and everybody has put into this design, so many features on this playground are features for everybody. It's not limiting at all. So that structure in the center is going to be a 16 by 16 metal roof with two tables underneath. You're going to have all the features split on both sides, the 2 to 5. You're going to have sensory walls that are going to have an OptiGear panel and marble panel. And what that does is that takes a child's ability to be imaginative even further, because they're actually working with something that is sensory. So whether it be by touch or sound, there's going to be all different aspects that are going to be brought to life on this playground as well. All that being said, the colors that Wayne and everybody has chosen are to fit into the landscape. We've gone with greens and browns and more neutral light colors because not only are kids' abilities physical, but they can be emotional, and certain color palettes and bright colors and things like that can instigate episodes as well. So what we have done is we've created a color palette that's going to minimize or limit or eradicate that as being a consideration that somebody would need to be concerned with. We've also worked in some themes. So we've got this horse in the barn, bring that whole farm aspect of West Newbury into the design as well. So it really plays a bit on the town. I want to show you. So the Omni Spinner isn't one of the other features that we have in here. Again, parents, multi-generational, students, teachers, everybody can be a part of this. You have kids on the inside, kids on the outside, and the kids are interacting and they're helping one another. And that just drives that inclusivity. As you can see here, you've got the parents on the outside as well. This is what the cozy dome will look like. I know in plan it's a little difficult to understand, but we've got kids that are on top, underneath. It gives them a safe space, a space that's a little bit quieter. It's a little bit more out of the sun, so they can get that freedom as well. And then again, there's so many different climbers and elements and features that we've brought into this design to give kids a challenge where there's an accepted risk, where they're creating their own path. It's not going to be linear, just up, down, left, right. You know, they can find different ways to traverse all of these different items, which is going to extend the play value much further than what you would see with a standard ladder or something to that effect. Here are those musical instruments that we have on site. And again, these create actual notes. So somebody could ostensibly play or create music, create a song of their own on these instruments. This is one of our other cool features that we have implemented into the design, which is the roller table. This is a static free roller table. So anybody with a cochlear implant or anything like that does not need to worry about static electricity or shock or anything like that messing with their implants, which is a huge, huge bonus. Plus, again, bringing that sensory where you're feeling those rollers as you go down. And as you can see here, it's not just one kid at a time. You can have multiple kids, you know, 2 kids side by side, 1 kid right after the other, couple kids going down at the same time. And we've seen kids have an amazing time with this feature. A couple of single features that we have, some more ground events. We've got these digi riders. There's a horse and a tractor, and we found that these are super popular. You know, kids are getting all their energy out, and it takes a good amount to move that spring, so they're going to be pretty tired if they're there for any period of time. Let's go back up to. So again, you've got a great layout. There is so much play value, and the percentage of play value that is all inclusive, and the fact that the surfacing is completely poured in place, there is going to be very, very minimal that on this site and throughout this design that somebody wouldn't be able to enjoy no matter what their ability is. So Wayne, you did a great job.
Thanks a lot. I just want to follow up with some of your stuff. One of the big things that I think you're underselling is that roller slide, which was a huge feature we heard from people at the beginning. And a bonus about that slide is we've all been parents, and we can't really go down the slide with our children on a standard slide. And this one gives all users the opportunity to bring your child down the slide. I've tried it, and I pretty much stepped on my child at the end of the slide. So it doesn't work on most places. This it does. And I think by if you scroll to the colored version pictures, if you notice, we just have a lot of ramps, and we didn't make the design vertically challenged. So if you are in a wheelchair or you have some type of disability, you're not trying to go up a huge slope to get to something. Everything is real easy to get to. And I think that took away the vertical part of this that might have turned some people off, because it's not as this monstrous big thing you come over the hill. But I think what this picture does not show is the metal structure in the middle, which gives us this monster shade and shelter to protect the parents. We went back and forth on the shelter. It's a big key point of the design was we looked at doing a top type of seal looking ones where it was a very heavy duty fabric that would hold up, but we were very nervous about the weather conditions up at the paid school. We've all seen the wind up there in January, and you can't even breathe trying to walk around back there. We wanted a structure that would last for all 12 seasons with maintenance of none. And that's what we picked. It was a costly feature, but we really pushed O'Brien and Son to get this in here because we wanted a place where it was going to be shade 12 months a year and protected from weather. And we wanted it to be a centerpiece to give the playground some vertical height. But again, it was our original goal was to design an inclusive playground. And I think we did that here. And O'Brien and Son has a lot of experience with that. So they were very helpful with making sure we got as much as possible. There's a few steps here and there to get to some of the slides, but the majority of this playground could be used by all. Other than that, I don't know if we missed anything, Colin. I'd be welcome. I welcome anybody else. And I got somebody else waiting to get in. Everybody's in. Good. I'd welcome if anybody else has any questions, comments.
Absolutely. It's very exciting. You know, again, being multi-generational, Wayne, I can't wait to see you on this Omni Spinner.
Me too. Me too.
Wayne, I had a quick question. Hi, everyone. I don't know who's on the call, but I'm Emily Pateri of the Page School. So we're super excited about this project and just seeing or hearing more. I've seen the layout, but just hearing more about the features is super exciting. I was just wondering if I could either have access to this presentation, or I just wanted to make a video for families. I'm getting a lot of questions from staff and families about it.
Mhm.
They haven't really heard much about it.
So Adam, we could send them a link to this, correct? Let's see if Adam gets back to us. Here he is. Perfect. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Oh, so is it going to be like you speaking and going through it, or is it just going to be like a slideshow?
It'll be this actual presentation.
Oh,
This is
this
being
pre.
put. Yep.
Okay.
But the designs are posted to the town website
Yes.
right now.
Yeah, I was thinking of just talking through. I send out a newsletter every Friday, so I was gonna make a quick video just with like a playground update, and I can add the pictures and things like that, and
Sure.
talk about it at a staff meeting and get people excited about it.
So the drawings that Colin's showing right now are on the CPC's website.
Okay, that's
So you can
I'll-
take those off there if you
Sure.
need to steal those. And it might be worth putting the link in, at least if you have a newsletter, at least give them a link they could watch the presentation on. And obviously, if you have anybody approach you, and
Yep.
Emily, if you have anybody who approach you who has questions regarding the playground in detail, please forward them my information. I'd be happy to talk to them about it to some that we don't answer tonight.
And then I guess just I know that the timeline, is going to be spring now. Is like, how will the students be impacted during recess for the winter months? They still go outside, during the winter. Wondering how.
So there's no impact unless so I did send you an email about asking if we could take the playground down, the old one, during the winter, like November and December, because I heard that they're not using it as much. I don't know how true that is.
They're not using it all. The only structure they're using it is the swing set, and that's
Okay.
mainly only the older kids are using it because we don't have good eyes,
Yeah.
over most of the younger kids will use the hot top and the grass, which is not,
Okay.
so scenic back there. It's so nice. They're fine, for now, but it's mostly the 5th and 6th graders who use the swing set. So yeah, I guess just with if it's taken down, I guess I would need to know like how long that would take and how close the kids could be to that area, things like that.
We would be taking it down in-house with our own highway guys. So we only get 3 guys.
Okay.
So it's a very small operation. We'll pick one piece at a time. I'll give you the heads up. We could try to do it during recess, but it'll be done. I was trying to give them something to do during the winter when it gets quieter for us.
Yep.
And we would just take our time and just pull them out and remove them out of there. So you can still have recess. We could fence everything if we have to.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's fine.
So,
Okay. Great.
Archie, I just saw that you sent a question. Do you want to expand on that one on the interface?
I just wanted to know what the border is going to be so that, the creeping of the grass over the material, or is it going to be, pressure treated wood, or what's the
Yeah.
junction? That's
Yeah.
my only question. Yeah.
Great question. I had the same question to Colin to nothing. We, the point in place butts up right against the grass. It's level, so you don't cause a tripping hazard. We definitely don't want to put wood or anything around it that's going to rise during frost and cause a tripping hazard. So we eliminated the tripping hazard, and you'll be able to mow right up to the edge of this. So we try to do we're trying to do as maintenance free as possible. And O'Brien and Sons said this is typical to have the put in place, go right up against the grass and have the grass grow right up to it.
Okay.
I asked that same question too, because I was like, are we gonna have to buy a wood trim all the way around? So Colleen asked I lost the chat here. Colleen asked, are kids allowed to use the current playground until it's taken down? Yes, they are. There's nothing that closed the playground. There's parts of the playground that is taped and closed because it's not safe to use without the proper equipment, but they're closed. There's other parts of the playground that is safe that you could use. It's just it's very outdated and it doesn't really meet the standards for a modern playground safety rules and regulations for a proper playground. So yes, it is open. I would like to have it removed the next day, honestly, if I could, because I don't think it's the best playground to use. But we have wood chips there. It's a playground. If it was dangerous, we would have closed the whole place down already. So it's
And just to add on that, none of our students use it during recess time. They have tons of games out there, very entertained. It's just a little nerve wracking to like where there are like closed areas. So just it is. In our minds at the school, it's just closed off for right now. They, like I said, the field, the hut top and the swing sets seem to be plenty. They do a lot of field games, things like that. So they're okay, but none of the kids during recess access the playground right now.
So we hope you will once the new playground's there.
I think
so.
I think so.
Anybody else have any other questions, comments?
I just, really want to commend you, Wayne, and, the whole team that's worked on this, including the vendor, but, you put in a tremendous amount of work, and this Community Preservation Committee has been very supportive right along the town meeting vote. So it's really nice to see it, come almost to fruition. Won't be in the ground, till springtime, but, we're getting closer. So really kudos for all that work.
Great. Thank you for that. I would say Colin has been abused by me over the last two and a half months. Running around 12 emails a day saying, move this, change that. Why is that? Who's that? What's that? How do you do that?
It's the name of the game.
I've asked them probably 40 questions a day sometimes, and they're like the stupidest little ones ever. But I've never did a playground before, so he teach me. The next one will have it down, Pat. So that's the presentation. I welcome anybody who has any questions after the fact, who watched the recording. They could send an email to myself at DPW Director at wnewbury.org. Right? We an org or a com. And you could ask me any questions you might have about it. I'd be happy to meet anybody out there and talk about the design. I know this is a small sample of people who are interested in this. And it was, we pulled this meeting off in 6 days because we want to get the order in before it was too late. So I want to encourage anybody who might be watching this at home or in the future be watching this, that they're welcome to reach out to me to ask any other questions and we could explain. I think trying to get the explanation about the inclusiveness, about why we might have picked certain equipment where we don't have other equipment that other playgrounds have. I think it's great to explain why we went in this direction, why we don't have other of these big monster climbing structures like you see at other playgrounds, and how we our focus was to be an inclusive playground. And I think we met that.
Wayne, I have a question before you close.
Sure.
Colin, are there features that you would have liked to include that you had to cut out for cost reasons? And is the playground designed enough that something could be added later on? Or is this pretty much what we're going to have?
So that's a great question. With the port in place, you can't add something into the port in place once it's in place. What you'd be doing is almost kind of like if you were at the beach and you were trying to dig a hole right at where the ocean was coming in. As soon as you break that rubber surfacing, all of the subsurface, the crushed stone that's compacted would just keep coming in on itself, which would then ruin the integrity of the surfacing around it. So as it meets the GMAX codes and the HIC codes, if it really is not a good idea to try and even get around cutting into port in place to add a feature later. That being said, we did that top corner, we did angle that down to save on some additional port in place cost, and we put the Gaga pit up there. You could always extend into like from this over into a grassy area, additional equipment and additional port in place, but to cut into it would not be recommended by us or by Service America, just based on what we've seen in the past. As far as features that I wanted in here that didn't make it, that's difficult to say, just in the fact that every playground grows differently. So we wanted to hit certain points. Being a super inclusive playground, having some, like Wayne said, crazy high net climbing structure, Ninja Warrior, didn't fit the design. I can always come up with all sorts of features that I absolutely love, but not all of them will fit properly into designs for everybody. The fact that we got the WeGo swing in here, the Omni Spinner in here, and the We Saw, those are going to probably be the top 3 used features for this playground. You're going to see kids, especially that Omni Spinner, going crazy, and you can pack so many kids into this Omni Spinner. So you're going to see a lot of kids playing together, utilizing these features together, which is again another part of inclusivity. But again, yeah, there's so many, there's tens of thousands of features we could pick from, and it's very difficult, as Wayne knows, to pick one instead of another one and to narrow it down. It can become very daunting.
Okay,
I mean,
thank you very much.
Wendy, that's a great question, because it was like eating a bag of chips. As you start designing this, there was 50 other features I wanted, and we were trying to put in this thing, but this would have been a 20,000 square foot playground if we kept going. The only thing that we had to cut out, we had to reduce, was the theme look. We had some great ideas about a fruit stand and certain roofs and a barn looking style, but we had to cut somewhere, so we chose to cut there and not remove any structures to play on. That was more
We
important.
kept the play value high and kept
Yes.
the theme cost low.
But we wanted a theme, but we trimmed down the theme. I mean, we had some great ideas about a barn look on there, but it was getting very costly. Just the roof structures
Market
were
and all sorts of stuff.
a little market and stuff. So we did pull those out. I hated doing it, but we wanted to keep at least as much play value as Colin said in the design.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. If anybody else has any more questions, I don't see any more. I think that's the design. We did it in 35 minutes because I think it's such a great project. People are excited to have it built. We'll work with the vendor over the next month to get the contract signed. So everything will be audited and it'll be shipped to them. And then April 1st, I hope, in that ballpark figure, O'Brien and Son will reach out to us and schedule a time. Hopefully we'll maybe be one of the first playgrounds, knowing that we're so
Yep.
early, and this will be one of the first playgrounds they do. So hopefully we could get the playground installed before the end of school, which I can't see why we wouldn't. I think that's it. And like I said to Emily earlier, DPW would like to start taking the material out. So if we have any drainage work that we need to do from our consultant, that he gives us to do, we could do that over the winter months too, and prep ourselves. So April 1st comes, we could go full out and build the playground. So I think that's where we're at. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Again, if you have any questions, you could reach myself at DPW Director at WNewbury.org anytime, and I'll get back to you to discuss it in more detail.